Chapter 71. Second brother, don't look at me, I did. Your sister-in-law is in good health, just like me. My daughter's grades are also very good. Do you have any other questions? Chen Xiaohua gave his younger brother an appreciative look. Good job, boy. Otherwise, I really can't hold it anymore. If Dad doesn't speak, I have to speak too. It won't be a problem for me at that time, but I can never get back the anger and grievances my wife suffered back then. The old man finally spoke. Hui's grades are also very good. Chen Xiang pretended to be curious. Chen Xiaohua said calmly, of course, my son is the provincial champion in science, so even if my daughter is not the champion, she will definitely be able to go to Beijing University. Chen Xiaoji quickly interrupted and said, that's right. It was because I followed you that I learned so many things. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so easy to get started in the beginning. Chen Xiang was immediately unhappy. So it wasn't me, your father, who taught you how to manage the family business step by step. By that time, that bastard had already left. Chen Ziji turned around and looked at his father with a smile. Dad, please say something. My second brother and his family are back in Beijing. Can we two brothers do this together? The old man still couldn't bring himself to do that. I retired a long time ago. Now you are the head of the family. You decide for yourself. From now on, don't bother me no matter whether you have something to do or not. I don't care what happens to my business anymore. Chen Xiaohua was at a loss. If you hadn't forced me to do that, I wouldn't have left the capital. He said calmly, King is a good woman. He is also a better fit for me. In the past 20 years, I have never regretted marrying her. I live a very happy and joyful life every day. Dad, I don't expect you to accept her. I just hope you don't hate her because of me. I have never hated her. Chen Xiang's face turned slightly red, feeling a little embarrassed. It's you I hate. No sense of the overall situation. Ignore the interests of the family for a woman. Do you think it's easy to be the head of the family? Look at the third child, he is sick now. If you had been obedient back then, even if the Chen family couldn't defeat the Huo family now, at least they could have fought for a draw. Chen Xiaoji was stunned. Huo family, the Huo family, which ranks first in strength in Beijing, is also the most low-key Huo family. Just based on the efforts of the Chen family, which is only the fourth generation up to his generation, he wants to compete with the Huo family. Where's the face? You old man are really getting senile. The Huo family is just like the Sun family during the Three Kingdoms period. For several generations in a row, every generation has a brilliant person who serves as the head of the family. Even if the Huo family stagnated, it would take at least 10 years for the Chen family to catch up. Do you know why we asked you to marry into the Huo family? That's your grandfather's opinion. You shouldn't hate me, Xiaohua. I am the head of the family, and everything I do is for this family. Seeing that his father was a little excited, Chen Xiaohua felt softened. Forget it, Dad, it's been 20 years. I don't bear any grudge against you. I chose to leave on my own. Chen Xiaoji slapped his hand on the table and said, that's it. That's settled. Brother, I will contact the school for my niece today. Move here as soon as possible. Besides, Hui came to Beijing, and her chances of going to Beijing University were much higher. At worst, I can donate a few more dormitory buildings. Chen Xiaohua stared at him coldly and said, Hui can pass the exam without any care. Chen Xiaoji laughed. Yes, our Hui will definitely be able to go to Beijing University. Chen Xiang had only seen photos of Chen Xiuhui, and they were photos of her when she was in elementary school. After hearing this, I couldn't help but want to see my granddaughter as soon as possible. Chen Xiaoji continued, Second brother, what do you think about Ping An's child? Should he live at home or at school? If you live at home, make other arrangements. If you live on campus, just tell Cayenne Bo if you need anything and he will prepare it for you. Chen Xiang asked, didn't his family find this child? Only then did Chen Xiaohua begin to explain what happened to Fang Ping'an after he returned. He had no evidence that Fang Ping'an was treated unfairly in the Fang family, but he knew Ping'an would not lie, and he was kicked out of the Fang family. When he finished speaking, not only Chen Xiaoji, but even the old man was moved. So that kid is quite decisive, not bad. Listening to his father's mumbling, Chen Xiaohua also nodded. Yes, when he came back, he was carrying a school bag. Later, the women from the Fang family came to my house to find him. I guess you regret it, hee. This kind of dirty stuff happens in every household. Second brother, don't look at me, I didn't. Chen Xiaoji waved his hands quickly, fearing that he would be labeled as such. But is that Fang family the same as the Fang family in Beijing? I never paid much attention to the Fang family, so I never paid any attention to them. Chen Ziang is so old now, but his spirit of eating melons lives on. Chen Xiaohua sighed. Fang Junhong, does this name have any impression on you? Fang Junhong. Chen Xiaoji was still mumbling when he heard the old man mutter. Just say you don't care. Fang Junhong is the third son of that old bastard Fang Zhehin. He married the girl from the Zhao family, but I forgot her name. But the Fang family poses no threat. When I was the head of the family, our Chen family was the second largest family in Beijing. Unfortunately, in your generation, we are still the second largest family. He glared at Chen Xiaoji with some displeasure. As the head of a family, any family with a little bit of size should pay attention to me. At least we should know that every family has outstanding descendants in this generation and the next. Whether it is marriage or suppression, at least you have to have a goal. Those who cannot be won over are all enemies, understand? The old man's voice became a little stern. Chen Xiaoji quickly nodded in agreement. The old man was still not satisfied. If Huo Sinan hadn't married Sherrying in the end, do you think the Chen family would have been so successful over the years? Snort. Chen Xiaohua naturally knew it. He fled the capital with Liu Qingkang, and the marriage failed. The third daughter of the Huo family eventually became his sister-in-law. I am currently teaching at the Normal University, but my brother is doing well now. Of course, in addition to the support of the family, the support from the Huo family is also indispensable for my eldest brother to reach his current height. After all, the Huo family started out in politics. Although Fang Pingan is my adopted son, I will never use him for marriage. Not to mention Huey. Chen Xiaohua's eyes were sharp, even with a hint of cruelty. Cough, 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 cough. Chen Xiaoji coughed twice and said, I've never done that before. Children want to do whatever they want. Chen Xiaohua ignored him and lowered his head to drink tea. The old man said somewhat embarrassedly, At that time, if you didn't do this, you would be suppressed by others. If your eldest brother hadn't married Huo Sinan, Xiaoji, I'm afraid you haven't had an easy time these years. Chen Xiaoji pointed at himself and smiled bitterly. I have been suffering for nearly 20 years. I only have a few days left to live, so please stop nagging me, okay? Chapter 72, Do you want to live on campus or at home? Up to now, all the serious matters have been discussed. Chen Xiang frowned and asked, I have heard of your disease. Is there really no cure? Chen Xiaohua remained silent. Chen Ziji shook his head and sighed. I went abroad right after I found out, just to find a special medicine. There is currently no such medicine, whether in China or abroad, in traditional Chinese medicine or Western medicine. The only thing you can do is to watch your diet. What I want to do most now is to take Qi Yang to travel abroad or just stay in China. There are so many mountains and rivers in our country, but I didn't have time to visit them all. Now I think about it and it's really a pity. Chen Xiang also fell silent. The third son has indeed put all his energy into the family business. He also knew that Qi Yang had created a jewelry brand because her man didn't have much time to accompany her. The result is that the couple has less time to spend together. He looked at Chen Xiaohua again and saw that although he was still in his prime, there was indeed a hint of old age between his eyebrows. I think getting up early and going to bed late these years has really made me age faster. Well, what? Qi Yang brought Fang Pingan back. Fang Pingan followed behind her with a cane, looking well-behaved. At this time, the three men in the room had already started chatting. Pingan, do you want to live on campus or at home? Fang Pingan thought for a moment and said, Let's live in school. Otherwise, you won't even be able to remember your classmates, let alone make friends. Chen Xiaohua heard him say this and nodded. Well, I'll go back after you finish signing up. Later, our family also moved to the capital. He glanced at Chen Xiaoji. Chen Xiaoji nodded immediately. Don't worry, I'll arrange Huey's transfer to the best school for you within a week. Fang Pingan was stunned. What does this mean? The whole family moved here, and Huey is also in the second year of high school in Beijing. Putting aside other things, can Huey keep up with the progress? I heard that the high school exams in Beijing are extremely difficult. Although they are supported by the regional enrollment ratio, all the students are still absolute academic masters. What about the house at home? Huey still has a house under her name. In an instant, several questions flashed through his mind. He looked at Chen Xiaohua with a questioning look on his face. Chen Xiaohua smiled and said, Your uncle will make the arrangements. Qi Yang sat next to Chen Xiaoji, very quiet. Okay, now that we've finished talking, you can go back if you have nothing else to do. The food here is very light. I guess you guys are not used to it. The old man spoke, and Chen Xiaohua and others quickly stood up. Fang Ping'an was very proactive this time. He climbed into the car and sat next to Chen Xiaohua. On the other side, my uncle and aunt naturally sat in a separate car. Dad, why did you come to Beijing? Hui's grades were very good in Yuncheng, but now that she's in Beijing, I'm worried she won't be able to keep up. If the pressure is too great, I'm afraid she'll lose her confidence. Chen Xiaohua waved his hand. You've been at the Fang family for 4 years, and although we still see each other, Hui is no longer the Hui of childhood. Her limit is beyond your imagination. Don't worry, she won't lose confidence. She is a person who becomes more courageous as she faces more setbacks. I want to see what those people would say if Hui was the same as me. HMPH. Fang Ping'an knew that there were many things he didn't know about the Chen family and his godfather. But now is not the time to ask these questions. You will naturally find out after Liu Qing comes. In the car in front. What impression do you have of Ping'an the kid? Chen Xiaoji asked, patting Qi Yang's hand. Qi Yang smiled. He's a good kid, although still a little naive, but he's still young after all. Let's wait and see in a few years. It's hard to tell what's going on right now. Chen Xiaoji knew that his wife was talking about the child's character. He also heard it from his second brother, and also had information that he had people find out. In terms of family affection, this child is not the worst. At least his second brother, his wife and their family gave him enough warmth. Top student in science, majoring in finance. If he is trained well, he may be able to bring greater help to the family. However, it is hard to say what my second brother is thinking. At least he had to find out when Fang Ping'an knew about the Chen family. Did he already know that his second brother was a member of the Chen family? All of this will take time to verify. Just give the child a few years, and we'll deal with the rest later. Chen Xiaohua originally wanted to go to school to register with Fang Ping'an, but Fang Ping'an refused. Dad, I'm not a kid anymore. What's more, most students go there by themselves when they register. The only difference between me and them is that I don't have much luggage. Then I'll help you with your luggage. Otherwise, you'll have no choice but to stay at your uncle's house or a hotel. Chen Xiaohua certainly knew that this was due to the young people's desire to save face. He didn't force it. Fang Ping'an was thinking about something else. No need, I don't have any luggage when I come to Beijing, okay. I didn't even buy a change of clothes. That's great, go sign up, and then I'll take you to buy bedding and daily necessities. Whether it's clothes or something else, I'll buy them all in one trip today, and I'll feel at ease before I go back. Otherwise, your mother will scold me again. What Chen Xiaohua said is also true. Fang Ping'an knew when he was a child that his mother Liu Qing didn't like to nag. But if Chen Xiaohua didn't do something well, she would definitely say it. Fang Ping'an thought about it and agreed. Just because he doesn't have luggage now doesn't mean he won't have it later. Taking the admission letter and information, the two got into the Chen family's car. But Fang Ping'an's words made Chen Xiaohua feel that the car was a little too luxurious. The last two people took a taxi to school. It's also good to be low-key. Going to college is to study and exercise. Chen Xiaohua muttered to himself, making Fang Ping'an want to laugh. But he hasn't felt this kind of doting attitude for several years. I feel warm in my heart. Oh, and try to find a girlfriend. It is said that there are 3 things that you must do in college. The first is to find a girlfriend. The second is to skip classes, and the third is to cheat in exams. Otherwise, your university is incomplete, understand? Chen Xiaohua said with a chuckle. Fang Ping'an rolled his eyes when he heard this. What kind of experience are these? Taxis can only go to the main gate of Peking University and cannot get in at all. The two of them walked slowly with the crowd. There are signposts along the way indicating the direction of the registration location. When he arrived at the registration point, Fang Ping'an was already sweating. One reason was the hot weather, and another reason was that he was using a cane and couldn't walk fast. Chen Xiaohua walked beside him, looking at these energetic young people with envy in his eyes. He had been this young once. When we arrived at the registration point, the enthusiastic seniors were already busy. Classmate Department of Finance, a senior student asked as he looked at the older boy in front of him who was leaning on crutches. Fang Ping'an was leaning on a cane and was very conspicuous in the crowd. Chapter 73, First Encounter with Fatty Li Hongzhang. Fang Ping'an was leaning on a cane, and people around him unconsciously kept at least one step away from him. This made him stand out more. Yes, the Department of Finance. He took out the acceptance letter from the backpack hanging on his chest and handed it over. Wow, so handsome. This year our finance department also has a handsome guy who is as handsome as the school idol. He's even more handsome than the previous ones. Although the voices of the two senior students next to me were not loud, the distance between them was too close. After hearing this, Fang Ping'an looked over. A sophomore at least, wearing very cool. But in Yuncheng, there are many girls who dress more casually than them. The streets were filled with long white legs and half-white breasts, but Fang Ping'an was not surprised by this. Besides, when the spirit followed Fang Hongjian back then, what had it not seen? I've really seen all sorts of things. After smiling at the two girls, he continued to look down at the senior who was registering him. Fang Ping'an, the senior student looked up at him, somewhat surprised. Are you the provincial champion? As soon as he said this, the two senior students and another boy looked over immediately, looking the guy with the cane up and down. Fang Ping'an felt a little embarrassed. Although Chen Xiaohua showed no expression on his face, he was very proud in his heart. He knew very well that Fang Ping'an's achievement had nothing to do with other people. At the Chen family, he and Liu Qing didn't have much time to take care of it. At the Fang family, no one cared at all. However, the child's study habits were indeed taught by him and Liu Qing since childhood. Hey, the senior student was still mumbling. I heard a long time ago that there is a provincial champion in our major this year. The two senior students were already shocked. Wow, he's so handsome, and he's such a good student. Junior, can you add a green bubble? Fang Ping'an was a little overwhelmed by this direct request. Chen Xiaohua watched happily from the side without saying anything. Fang Ping'an quickly waved his hands and said, Later. I haven't been assigned a dormitory yet. He looked at the senior and asked, which dormitory am I in? When can I get the key? The senior shook his head and said, you chose your own dormitory. With such a high score, of course you have the right of priority in selection. Other freshmen come in order, but you should be the one in Building 27, the best male dormitory. He opened a folder beneath the register and turned it over on the table. You can choose the floor and room number yourself, but the bed will depend on whether the dormitory you choose is already occupied. Chen Xiaohua only spoke up at this moment and asked, classmate, please help us pick a room on a lower floor, not on the edge. You see, his legs are not in good condition. He said this because he had no idea which building it was. Fang Ping'an naturally had no objection. He was even less clear. Fortunately, the senior knew it. The first floor is a bit dirtier, so choose the second floor. He looked through the details of the dormitory registration. If possible, I would suggest room 217. This room is not occupied yet. The conditions in this building are the best, not just for students in the Department of Finance. The school allocated only 3 rooms to the department, and several people have already moved in. If you go in, room 217 will automatically become our finance department's room. After he talked about this, Fang Ping'an finally understood the principles of dormitory allocation. Those with high scores naturally enjoy certain special treatment. It can be explained in a simple sentence. He watched the senior student operate the laptop for a while, then took out a card and operated it on a card reader before handing it to him. You are the first student to move into dormitory 217 in Building 27. There are 4 people in each room, so go and pick your own. Fang Ping'an very tactfully took the 2 admission instructions and stepped aside with his crutches. There's a queue behind. The other senior didn't pay any attention to the whole process. After all, he was really busy. Besides, Fang Ping'an is not a pretty girl. Chen Xiaohua took him to Building 27, found the dormitory, opened the door, and looked around. There are 4 beds on top and a desk below. The bathroom is on the right-hand side as you enter, behind the door. Well, how come you go up there to sleep? Chen Xiaohua was a little worried. It's okay, let's reserve a bed by the window first. It will take me at least 2 months before I can climb up and sleep on it. If it doesn't work for now, I can stay in a hotel. What Fang Ping'an meant was that if he took the Chen family's car to school every day, it would be too ostentatious. Chen Xiaohua understood as soon as he heard it. I will bring your mother and your sister to the capital soon, and you can just stay at my house. But this bed is pretty good. I'll go to the school gate to buy some bedding and other things. You take a break. Fang Ping'an wanted to ask why they moved to the capital, but after thinking about it, he didn't open his mouth. Chen Xiaohua turned and walked out. Fang Ping'an stood at the window and watched him leave. He turned around, threw his backpack on the bed, and sat down on the chair below. About 10 minutes after Chen Xiaohua left, Fang Ping'an saw a short, fat man through the open door. He stared at the house number on the door before walking in. The fat man was sweating all over, carrying a big bag and pushing an extremely large suitcase. "Hello, are you from the finance department?" The pair of small eyes on the fat man's face can be described as sparkling. At first glance, you can tell that he is a simple and honest person with black sesame filling. "Well, my name is Fang Pingan. What's yours?" Fang Pingan pointed to his foot, which was still in a cast, and said, "Sorry, I'm still limping, so I won't stand up to greet you." The fat man laughed and waved his fat hands. It's okay. I'm also from the finance department. My name is Li Hongzhang. Did you choose the bed above your head?" Fang Pingan smiled and nodded without saying anything. The fat man quickly brought in all his boxes and bedding, and then threw the bedding on the bed facing Fang Pingan. "I'll make the bed first, then I'll talk to you later." The fat man climbed up with his butt sticking out. Fang Pingan watched quietly. The fat man was very skillful and quickly made the bed. Then he started to put on the quilt and other things. Not long after, just as the fat man took the clothes out of the box and hung them up, Chen Xiaohua came back. Fang Pingan introduced, "This is my dad. Dad, this is my roommate Li Hongzhang." The fat man called out obediently, "Hello, uncle." Chen Xiaohua smiled, took out the things he was carrying and started to make the bed. The fat man rushed over and said, "Uncle, how can I let you do this? Fang Pingan has a problem with his legs, but I'm his roommate. This kind of thing should be left to me." Fang Pingan opened his eyes wide. This fat guy knows how to handle things. Chen Xiaohua waved his hand and said, No, I'm just helping to make the bed. I don't have any other luggage." Fang Pingan followed up with an explanation. "I can't climb up, so I have to stay at home for the time being. I'll come back and live in the dormitory with you guys when my leg is healed." Seeing that Chen Xiaohua had no intention of letting him take action, the fat man stood up embarrassedly and turned on the water dispenser, preparing to make a cup of hot tea for Fang's father. Chapter 74, Appropriate Competition is Allowed. Chen Xiaohua quickly made the bed, and he was also sweating. Fang Pingan couldn't help much, so he could only watch him finish his work before speaking. "Dad, let's go. I'll go back with you." "Li Hongzhang, thank you for your help. When other roommates arrive, I will tell them that I will not be coming back to sleep for the time being because of my leg problem. I will come back to live on campus when the plaster is removed. But this bed is mine." The fat man nodded, then took out his phone and said, "How about adding WeChat? That way I can tell you if anything happens." The two added each other on WeChat. Fang Pingan's WeChat name was his real name, and his profile picture was also a selfie. The fatty's side is interesting, a fat hippopotamus avatar, and the name is also very simple, Fatty. Fang Pingan made a note of Li Hongzhang. "Goodbye, uncle." The fat man was very well behaved. Chen Xiaohua said goodbye to him with a smile, then left with Fang Pingan. Chen Xiaoji had already informed the school, so there was no need for the two of them to go to any school leaders or student leaders to apply to not participate in the military training. After meeting with the hospital leader that Chen Xiaoji contacted, Fang Pingan confirmed that this is where his monthly checkups would take place. After school starts, in addition to meeting the new students and getting to know the teachers and counselors, there is military training. After estimating the time, Fang Pingan would have to wait at least a month after the military training before he could remove the plaster on his leg. He will have to live in a hotel for the next 2 months. Fang Pingan was more than satisfied with the hotel, arranged by his uncle, than expected. It was a business suite with a dedicated cleaning staff and someone to help with laundry. He only needed to stay here until the plaster was removed, and then he could go back to school to live on campus. After finishing all the work, Chen Xiaohua returned to Yuncheng. Since agreeing to return to the Chen family, Chen Xiaohua knew very well what he should do. The former genius has been in obscurity for more than 20 years. He is now only in his early 40s, which is the best time for him to take over the family. But he also knew that it would take him at least a year to take over smoothly. Before that, he could only follow the third brother and learn again and again. As for the relationship between his father and his wife, he had already seen apology in his father's eyes. Country M. Chin Balian was busy in the kitchen. She didn't hire a nanny, but did everything herself. Fang Hongzhen has been in a bad mood recently. She doesn't understand. He has obviously recovered well, and now it is almost impossible to tell that there is something wrong with his body, but his temper seems to be getting worse. Although my hair has grown out, it is still not long enough. The scar on his head is still very obvious. Since coming here, my son basically doesn't want to go out except to go to the hospital. And her man, as usual, came at the time he had agreed on. Fang Junhong was sleeping at this time. He has been really busy lately. When they returned home, apart from a few servants, only the eldest daughter and the third daughter were at home. Besides, these two girls hardly talked to him. What's even worse is that Fang Qingyan, who could have been a great help to him, actually offered to resign from the position of president of the group. He couldn't get angry either. Just keep silent. He remembered clearly that when his eldest daughter, who had always been very diligent and conscientious, walked into his office that day, the expression on her face was cold, and she didn't want to get close to him. Even though she didn't talk about anything except work, he knew why. He hasn't seen his daughter since the day after he submitted his resignation. Despite his busy schedule, he still had to take a flight for more than 10 hours to the other side of the ocean to deal with his son's affairs. Not to mention, I had received a call from Fang Junyi before. The good mood of seeing a lion and her son was completely ruined. Qin Balian is very good at making soup. The man likes to drink the soup she cooks. When the meal was ready, she took off her apron and went upstairs to the room, intending to wake up the man to come down for dinner. When she passed by her son's room, she overheard him talking on the phone. Okay, I understand. We'll talk about this later. There was nothing I could do in the short term. I'm in fucking country M. If you have the guts, come find me. In all this time, I have never lied to you. But you, what kind of people are you looking for? Twice. Zusan twice. When the hell did you do it? Get out. From now on, no matter what, don't contact me anymore. Then came the sound of furniture. It was obvious that the son had kicked the furniture. She quickly walked towards her bedroom, lightened her steps, opened the door, and walked in. The man on the bed was sleeping soundly. But you still have to eat. She gently pushed the man's shoulder. Fang Junhong woke up from his sleep, opened his eyes, looked around, and then looked at her. Junhong, get up and eat. You've slept for 6 hours. It's time to get up. After the man cleaned up and took a shower, she handed him a change of clothes, then left the bedroom and knocked on her son's room door. Hongjun, come downstairs to eat. After saying that, she went straight downstairs. Didn't stay at the door for long. When she reached the stairs and looked back, she saw the man standing at her son's door without moving. Soon the door opened. Fang Junhong raised his chin and said, "Wait a minute, I have something to tell you." "A lion, you go down first." Qin Balian nodded and went downstairs to prepare the dining table. Fang Hongjun took a few steps back to open the door. Fang Junhong walked in and closed the door. "Have a seat," he pointed to the sofa. Fang Hongjun was obedient and sat on the sofa looking at him without saying a word. Fang Junhong took out a cigarette and lit it in front of Fang Hongjun's surprised look. "You don't smoke, do you?" "I've been under too much pressure lately." Fang Junhong exhaled a puff of cigarette. "This is the first time you and I have spoken since you were injured." He narrowed his eyes and looked at his calm-looking son. "Did you arrange for Fang Ping'an to get into a car accident?" Fang Hongjun's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. "What a pity I didn't kill him." Fang Junhong pinched his brows and said, "Stop it. The Fang family in Beijing has spoken. During the 4 years of college, you two brothers are not allowed to fight each other. Who will have the right to speak in the Fang family of Yuncheng in the future depends on your future achievements." Fang Hongjun snorted disdainfully. "Yuncheng Fang family, when will it be the turn of Beijing Fang family to make decisions? Has the company's major shareholder changed?" Fang Junhong shook his head. "Not really. But this possibility is not ruled out. Hongjun, from the family's perspective, there will be no problem as long as you are my son. As for the two of you, status is not important at all. If I want to leave the Fang family in Beijing, I need you to excel, preferably better than all the next generation of the Fang family in Beijing. You shouldn't just focus on Fang Ping'an. That seems too narrow-minded. So don't dwell on this matter anymore. If a family wants to prosper, it must have an endless stream of talented people. Both you and Ping'an can be said to be future talents. Appropriate competition is allowed." Fang Junhong carefully considered his words. "But anything excessive is not allowed. You have to know that although I am the major shareholder, there is also the Fang family and the Zhao family in Beijing. If they sell their shares, you should know the consequences." Chapter 75, I know what I am doing. Without waiting for Fang Hongjun to answer, he continued. "You have received elite education since childhood. No matter from which aspect, you are no worse than anyone else. Do you understand? It feels to me as if you have lost confidence." "Enough," Fang Hongjun roared in a low voice. "I know what I am doing. Pattern. The structure is shit. If everything could be the same as in the dream, what would the Fang family in Beijing mean? I want to be the king of Yuncheng. However, everything I saw in my dream was different from the real world. I need to find the root cause of this change and solve the people and things that caused the change. But the simplest and most convenient way is to get rid of Fang Pingan. Regardless of whether the root cause is Fang Pingan or not, my plan will not change. As long as I can get everything back on track, I can make the clouds and rain with a wave of my hand. I understand what you mean. I won't return home until I get my degree. If he died in an accident, it has nothing to do with me, Fang Hongjun said in a low voice with a gloomy face. Fang Junhong sighed, I love your mother and you remember this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought you home and given you to Zhao Wei. Zhao Wei has been waiting at the gate of Peking University since the first day of school. Fang Jinglei was driving, and the two of them sat in the car watching the people coming in and out. She was reluctant to come. The reconciliation between the siblings that she had imagined was not a persistent entanglement like this. Instead, we should do something practical for Fang Pingan, using facts to prove that you are making up for past mistakes and want to reconcile. What's the use of just talking? But she thought so. But her mother Zhao Wei was not willing to use her brain at all. She wishfully thought that Fang Pingan was unwilling to forgive her simply because she had been too good to Fang Hongjun in the past. The two generations have different perceptions of a matter, but the new generation is the more powerful one, which makes the matter fall into a one-sided situation. Any young person would be disgusted by this situation until they saw Chen Xiaohua and Fang Pingan slowly appear in front of them. He walked past them less than 20 meters away. When Zhao Wei saw Fang Pingan leaning on crutches, she burst into tears in the car. Fang Jinglei was exhausted, although she also wanted to know what happened that caused Fang Pingan to break his leg. But I could only watch him on crutches with his leg in a cast. She didn't dare get off the bus, nor did she dare let her mother get off. The man next to Fang Pingan is his adoptive father. He was a gentle-looking man, but when she went to the small restaurant to look for Ping An, she saw with her own eyes the resentment in the man's eyes. At that time, she didn't understand why this man was resentful. Later, he realized that he was resentful that they took away the son he had raised for more than 10 years, and then did not treat him well. In the end, he even forced his adopted son to return to the Chen family alone. That should be it. But today is completely different. The aura of this man was completely different from when I first met him in the small restaurant. That is the kind of momentum that can only be radiated invisibly by absolute self-confidence and strong belief. Fang Jinglei didn't know how to describe it. The man who once looked so gentle now looked so gentle that she didn't dare to get out of the car and talk to Fang Pingan. Her eyes were fixed on Fang Pingan's leg in plaster. Lele, what happened to Pingan's legs? Did you see it? Zhao Wei sat in the passenger seat, covering her mouth, not daring to cry or scream. He didn't speak until his emotions had calmed down a little. Fang Jinglei nodded without saying anything. Of course she saw it. Zhao Wei continued. You said Ping An's leg, could it be? Fang Jinglei quickly interrupted her mother and said, I don't know, I hope not. Zhao Wei looked at her in astonishment and stammered, do you know what I'm going to say? Fang Hongjun has already gone abroad, so even if we want to take action, we can only find people in China. Regardless of whether it was him or not, at least he arrived safely. Mom, stop imagining that. Think about what you can do for him. Fang Jinglei's eyes never left Fang Pingan. She looked at the man's face full of smile and pride. Looking at his younger brother, he also walked into the school gate with a smile. Disappeared in the crowd. There, countless parents accompanied their children into this school. Send your children into the next stage of life with your own hands. From here on, they will lose many opportunities to communicate with their children. Children, on the other hand, will focus more on their new living and learning environment. There will be new friends, a new world, a new life. Fang Pingan had just showered himself with difficulty and was lying on the hotel's oversized bed, browsing his phone, when he saw a window pop up on the screen. A fat hippopotamus face with a line of text next to it. Ping An, everyone in the dormitory is here. Do you want to come and get together? Fang Pingan couldn't lie down anymore. This is the first time that the freshmen meet each other. They will be together day and night for the next 4 years. It would be unreasonable not to get together. Okay, I'll treat you. Just consider it as an apology for not being able to sleep with you guys because of this leg. Smiley face. He didn't want his roommates to think he was a loner. But apart from Li Hongzhang, he had never met the other two and had no idea about their appearance and personality. Eating and drinking are undoubtedly the best ways to break the ice among young people. And because of this leg, he doesn't have to drink at all. Although these are just some small thoughts, you can also openly say that you can't drink. In fact, Fang Ping'an hardly ever drinks. The only few times were at home. Li Hongzhang quickly created a group and then pulled him in. Fang Ping'an went in and saw that the group name was Dormitory 217. There were already 3 people in the group, and he was the last one. Everyone, I'm Fang Ping'an from Yuncheng. I'm Ding Junj from Harbin. His profile picture is a cool, handsome guy wearing sunglasses, and his nickname is Brother Ji. Kai Yonghao from the prairie. This is very distinctive. The avatar is a group of cattle and sheep on the grassland, simple and rustic. Nicknamed the Son of the Prairie. Fang Ping'an, I'm sorry my leg is not healed yet. I can't climb onto the bed in the dormitory, so I have to live outside. I was not in the dormitory for our first meeting today, so I'd like to ask everyone to come out for dinner as an apology. Brother Ji, oh, what's the big deal? Then the next meal is on me. Fatty, I have no objection. Prairie Son, do you need me to bring some wine? I brought some homemade wine. Fang Ping'an, I can't drink. My leg is broken and the plaster hasn't been removed yet. Foe. Brother Ji, Zio Anzi, what's wrong with you? Fang Ping'an was stunned for a moment. This is typical of being sociable. However, people from northeast China are very sociable, and he knows this. But the title of Zio Anzi must not be accepted. We must fight for it. Fang Ping'an, Zio Zhezi was hit by a car, 2 ribs and 1 leg. Fatty, ha ha ha. The name Zio Anzi makes me burst out laughing. Son of the Prairie, it really sounds like the name of a little eunuch. Brother Ji, well, I wish you peace. Fang Ping'an, thank you, Brother Ji, for letting me go. I live quite far away, and it takes me about half an hour to get to school, and I walk slowly. Brother Ji, it's okay. I'm not familiar with this area either. When you come, let's go out for a walk and just find a place to sit. Fatty, yes, just to get familiar with each other. Don't let them think there's a new student when you come to the dormitory. The son of the grassland, I'm fine, don't bring the wine. Ping'an, you can't drink, have a drink when the time comes. It's our first meeting, so just have some beer. Fang Ping'an, okay, I'll go out now. I'll tell you when we get to the school gate. Let's meet directly at the school gate. Chapter 76, Who is the dormitory boss? When Fang Ping'an got off the taxi, he saw Li Hongzhang and 2 other tall young men standing at the school gate looking around. One of them was a tall guy who was extremely handsome. The other was tall and strong. He found it a little unbelievable. It stands to reason that the possibility of a top student emerging among these tall and strong boys is almost 0. Where is Kyoto University? Except for people with Beijing household registration, it is basically impossible for people from anywhere else to come in unless they are academically elite. Fang Ping'an, who was observing carefully, was discovered by the fat man. Suddenly a loud shout was heard. Fang Ping'an, we are here. The fat man had a very loud voice, and the unnaturally handsome guy turned around and looked over. Then he strode over and stood in front of Fang Ping'an. Why in front of him? Because he was the only one around here with a plaster leg, and the 2 silver crutches were too eye-catching. Fang Ping'an, the handsome guy asked with a smile on his face. Fang Ping'an nodded, Brother Ji. Seeing the other person nod, he asked again, how tall are you? Li Hongzhang also came over with another one. Hi Fang Ping'an, I'm Kai Yonghao. A pair of big hands reached out. Fang Ping'an listened to Gao Yaoshuai speaking in a northeastern accent and laughing as he said he was 1.88 meters tall, while he rested his crutches under his armpits and shook hands with Kai Yonghao. Li Hongzhang stood aside and looked Fang Ping'an up and down. I didn't dare to look at you carefully at that time. Your father is a bit scary. Oh, it seems that I am the shortest person in our dormitory. I am only 1.78 meters tall. I thought I wouldn't be the shortest, but I didn't expect that. Ding Junj laughed. I am not considered short in our place. Kai Yonghao followed up. Me too, I'm considered tall in our area. Fang Ping'an looked at Ding Junj's face and pretended to sigh. I thought I would be the most handsome, but I didn't expect that I was no match for you. Your face is good enough to be the school hunk's face, isn't it? Ding Junj smiled complacently. I have always been the most handsome in our school. There is no way my dad is too handsome, and my mom is even more beautiful. What? After exchanging a few compliments, Li Hongzhang wiped his sweat and said, Can we set off now? It's really a bit too hot under the scorching sun. Fang Ping'an suddenly asked, Tell me your age, who is the boss of the dormitory? Ding Junj raised his delicate chin and said, It must be me. I am 19, and my birthday is on the first day of the Lunar New Year. I don't believe any of you is older than me. After a competition, Ding Junj was the eldest, Fang Ping'an was the second, Kai Yonghao was the third, and the youngest was Li Hongzhang. Fang Ping'an was very happy that he didn't find any weirdos among his roommates, as they were basically normal kids. As for himself, he has lived 2 lives as a human being. Even if the 15 years he spent with Fang Hongjun can only be converted into 10 years, he should be more mature mentally than these real high school graduates. Let's go, big boss. You and the third boss go find a place first. The fourth boss and I will follow slowly behind. Fang Ping'an kindly made a suggestion. Li Hongzhang immediately shook his head. I'm impatient and can't wait. Hey Uzi, you and Ping'an follow behind and take your time. The boss and I will go first to grab a good spot. Ding Junj glanced at him and asked doubtfully, Do you know where to eat, what to eat? Li Hongzhang nodded confidently. Boss, you are from Northeast China, so barbecue must be something you like. I'm a native of Beijing, and I don't have any dietary restrictions. The mouse comes from the grassland, so I'm sure he won't refuse to be grilled. Ping'an is injured, and there are some things he can't eat. I just arrived at Kyoto University yesterday, and I have already walked around the snack streets around the school. I know best what delicious food there is near our school. Ding Junj and the other 3 immediately looked at the fat man differently. Sure enough, fat people are worth looking forward to. Sure enough, being fat makes sense. Sure enough, fat people know how to eat. The 4 of them looked at each other and burst into laughter. Fang Ping'an moved his crutches while observing. Ding Junj was dressed casually and well-made, and he looked like a child from a wealthy family. Although Kai Yanghao came from the grassland, he must have herds of cattle and sheep at home. Otherwise, the pair of shoes on his feet would be fake. Li Hongzhang's family should be relatively wealthy, as he had less than 2,000 yuan in his possession. Like Fang Ping'an, the most expensive thing for everyone is basically the pair of shoes on their feet. But this fat man has a good personality, he must have never suffered, and he doesn't seem to care much about money. This means that this guy is either pretending, or his family is in politics or comes from a scholarly family. As for himself, all his clothes were newly bought, and the tags were still in the trash can in the room. Very good. This dormitory should be more interesting. Kai Yanghao and he walked slowly, and this guy was looking around all the way. My eyes are always glancing at the girls coming and going in cool clothes. Mouse, are you a special recruit? He really couldn't help but want to ask. I couldn't help thinking about it before. Kai Yanghao turned his head to look at him and nodded. I'm a national-level wrestler. Oh my God, Fang Ping'an was shocked. Kai Yanghao suddenly grinned. I was originally 28 points below the admission score, but I am still a national first-level archery athlete. Fang Ping'an stood in awe. How much time does it take to become a first-level athlete in these 2 items? Besides, this guy's grades aren't that bad. Hey Uzi, why do you want to study finance? Kai Yanghao sighed. I originally wanted to go to the Magic City. It is said that there are a lot of girls from Jiangnan in the foreign language department there, and they are very beautiful and gentle. Unfortunately, my mother disagrees. He insisted that I go to a school in Beijing, otherwise he wouldn't give me money. As for professionalism, after thinking for a moment, the guy said, It doesn't matter what I learn, I will always go home in the end. Fang Ping'an almost laughed when he saw Kai Yanghao with a sad face. What kind of family is this? But since Kai Yanghao said so, it should be true. This made Fang Ping'an more interested in this guy's family. Hey Uzi, do you have a lot of cattle and sheep at home? Is it like what they say online about asking for leave to go to a new location or something? Kai Yanghao turned his head and looked at Fang Ping'an's bright and curious eyes, nodded and shook his head. It's quite a lot, but I don't need to ask for leave to change locations. Who does the relocation of pastures on the grasslands by themselves now? They all hire others to do it. At most, I can just follow by car. The 2 of them talked as they walked, and soon the fat man sent a message. Blackbeard Barbecue, come quickly. He also sent a location. Kai Yanghao chuckled and said, Let's go, we're not far away. Fang Ping'an naturally had no objection. Blackbeard Barbecue is a relatively large store in the snack street. The boss really doesn't have a single beard, and with his glasses on he actually looks like a scholar. However, since most of the people here today are college students who have just met their roommates, they are all having a get-together party. The scene in the barbecue restaurant was extremely lively. Kai Yanghao was tall and strong, and he protected Fang Ping'an as they moved in. When the students inside saw a lame man coming in, they all carefully moved away to avoid running into him. Chapter 77, We are really more passionate than you. Fang Ping'an took a quick look and found that there was indeed no empty seat inside. The fat man was standing beside a table and waving over here. Ding Junj was sitting next to him with a serious look on his face. From the behavior of the girls at the two tables next to him, we can guess that this guy is pretending. There's no way. There are a lot of good-looking guys in this barbecue restaurant. But compared to him, there is indeed a huge gap. And the vast majority of young people make a living by looking good. The two of them walked over slowly and sat down. At this moment, Ding Junj was looking at the girls in the shop with an indifferent look. I have to say, girls look especially good when the weather is hot. Li Hongzhang's small eyes were shining brightly at this time, like a radar, and he would look at someone for a while when he found one. The only normal one is Fang Ping'an. The truth is that in the past 10 years or so, he has seen too many women who are very outstanding in appearance, figure, temperament, and dressing style. However, almost without exception, these women are the type who can't close their legs when they see the money. The most unbearable thing right now is the rat. The most amazing thing about this guy is that once a girl looks at him, he immediately looks shy. A 5-foot-tall man with a shy face. That posture made Fang Ping'an feel a chill. He looked at Kai Yanghao, who was the most abnormal, and silently covered his face with the menu. Since it's our first meeting, of course we have to drink. Fang Ping'an had said before that he would not drink alcohol because his leg and rib injuries had not yet recovered. In fact, he didn't know how much he could drink, but when he was healthy, he should be able to walk back by himself after drinking 2 bottles of beer. He drank iced sour plum juice to keep him company. Among the four, Ding Junj and Kai Yanghao were evenly matched and were fine after each drinking a bottle of beer. The fat man couldn't drink any more after drinking 5 bottles. However, Fang Ping'an found the great thing to be that these 3 people knew their limits no matter what. Of course, since rats come from the grassland, it is normal for them to have a good alcohol tolerance. The boss, Ding Junj, also drank a bottle of beer, and his face only looked slightly red. Li Hongzhang refused to drink any more after finishing the 5th bottle. This kind of self-controllability is indeed rare. Of course, Fang Ping'an also had some doubts that this guy could actually drink a lot. The 4 of them chatted about everything under the sun while eating and drinking. Most of the boys in this barbecue restaurant are like them. The meal didn't end until around 9:30 in the evening. Fang Ping'an settled the bill early. This made the boss, Ding Junj, who was about to pay the bill, feel a little embarrassed. Oh, even though you said you were the one paying, how can I really let you pay? This meal must cost several hundred yuan. If anyone wants to pay, it's me, the boss, who has to pay. Fang Ping'an said with a smile. It's okay. Since I said I'll pay, then I have to pay no matter how much the meal is today. We in dormitory 217 keep our word. After some pushing and shoving, the 4 of them left the barbecue restaurant and planned to go back. Fang Ping'an said goodbye to them and planned to return to the hotel. Ding Junj and the other 2 stood on the roadside to help him hail a taxi. After he left, Li Hongzhang suddenly said, I don't know how many points you got in the college entrance examination. All I know is that Fang Ping'an is the top scorer in science in Yun Province, with a score of over 730. Ding Junj was stunned for a moment before exclaiming, Fuck, so awesome, I'm over 690 and I think I'm awesome. Li Hongzhang shook his head and said, There's nothing I can do, he's just so awesome. Kai Yanghao followed up with a question, Old 4, how many points did you get? Li Hongzhang laughed, I'm a local so my score isn't as high as yours. Ding Junj sighed and said, Beijing locals have this advantage, so they are criticized. Li Hongzhang nodded in agreement. In fact, we are more aggressive than you. How about you, Mouse? When they learned about Heyazi's achievements and specialties, they were shocked. No wonder he is so big and strong. If he were to fight with someone, wouldn't he fall to the ground as soon as he touched someone? 18 falls with a touch of clothes. Ding Junj stopped where he was and looked at Kai Yanghao, performing a kung fu opening move. Kai Yanghao laughed and shook his head. No, it's just some tricks to disrupt the opponent's body balance and strength. Of course, I have to keep my bottom line stable. Li Hongzhang, who was standing next to them, could only admire the 2 men's drinking capacity. Of course, he collected the quantity. How can you get drunk the first time you meet someone or the first time you drink with them? The 3 of them walked and talked all the way back to the dormitory. In the next few days, Fang Ping'an studied the stock market charts in his room. Apart from the 2 million in his trading account, he didn't have much money. Dadu bought a house for his sister. He didn't know whether his parents were going to sell them all or what to do with them, but he didn't care. He was absolutely confident that he could make more money, and he had no doubts about himself, whether it was leaving the Fang family or not relying on his adoptive father. He focused on several historical trends in the gold market. He knew he had a photographic memory, and we also know that the so-called photographic memory is not a normal condition. In fact, everything that everyone has seen or heard will be stored in their mind. It's just that our brains have the ability to automatically distinguish. It took it upon itself to choose a place and throw in all the content it considered unimportant. The longer the time goes, the more content is deposited and the more layers are accumulated. When you suddenly remember something, it just means that you find what you need here. The brain of a person with a photographic memory must be different from that of ordinary people. Everything you see, hear, smell, and even feel can be accessed at any time. In other words, if his brain is a computer, there is no recycle bin. He got up early in the morning, packed neatly, and went to school. Today is the opening ceremony and class meeting. Fang Ping'an went to school early because he wanted to go with the people in dormitory 217. Because he was the slowest, the other three had to slow down and walk with him at a snail's pace towards the huge playground. Second brother, you are not participating in military training. This is what I envy the most. Ding Junj sighed. I am so fair, if I get tanned, it will be terrible. Kai Younghao also sighed. Fang Ping'an smiled bitterly and said, Actually, I still want to participate in military training. At least it can improve my physical fitness. He once wanted to sign up for a Sanda class, but ended up not going. If you don't have good physical fitness, you won't be able to do anything in the future. Even running away might not be possible. Huh? Why would I want to run away? Kai Yonghao's head kept shaking with the girl's position, which made Ding Junj feel embarrassed, especially when those girls stared at him. Heyazi would stare at the girls and scan them up and down and left and right. Mouse, Ding Junj maintained his expression and whispered, Can you please stop staring at other girls with those sticky eyes? Kai Yonghao chuckled. What I like most are wine, meat, and women. Li Hongzhang nodded vigorously. I like women too. Boss, don't you like them too? Ding Junj sighed. I like you, but your blank stare will scare girls away. Fang Ping'an couldn't help laughing out loud when he heard this. In his eyes, these new students are too immature. However, it was precisely this youthfulness that made him unable to help but look at her several more times. Everything he saw in his previous life was a masterpiece, but he was really tired of the vulgarity and hypocritical materialism. There are so many young, beautiful, and pure girls right in front of you. Why not take a few more glances at them? Chapter 78, Ping'an, which one are you? One more chapter. The orientation session was actually pretty boring. The main reason is that everyone is basking in the sun. Fortunately, it was early in the morning, otherwise it would have been even hotter. When the national flag was raised and the national anthem was played, Ding Junj and Kai Yonghao each helped Fang Ping'an up. Sitting down was a painful process. The stool is too low. The only thing that made everyone excited was the host. She looks like a senior student rather than a teacher. The appearance is so delicate that it seems like it was created by AI. She tied her long hair behind her head and secured it with a hairpin. The slender neck is like a swan, a shoulder-bearing sky-blue long dress. The delicate collarbone and the fair skin are so dazzling. The most unforgettable thing is those eyes. Unbelievably beautiful. It's a pity that the distance was still a bit far. There were hundreds of boys in the audience all staring at her. Anyway, they have absolutely no hope with this senior who looks like a cold and aloof goddess. Not only them, but also the girls were shocked by the appearance and figure of this senior. How can there be such a beautiful girl? My appearance is not bad, but compared with her. No, I don't deserve it. The only thing you can do is to compare them secretly. Li Hongzhang seemed to know the girl's information. The expression on his face was like an old monk in meditation, which attracted Kai Yonghao's attention. This guy's eyes almost never left the goddess from beginning to end. Because many people had the same look as him, the senior student even looked over here. There was nothing in his eyes except coldness. She didn't stand aside until the leader started speaking. Despite this, she still caught most people's attention. When it was the senior student's representative's turn to speak, she shocked everyone again. She read out the next item herself, but then she began to represent the senior students. Ding Junj was full of admiration. Wow, this senior is definitely a genius student. He asked in a low voice, Do you know the difference between a genius student and a top student? Li Hongzhang asked in a low voice, What's the difference? Kai Yonghao didn't hear the question at all. His attention was entirely on the stage. Ding Junj whispered, I only need 2 sentences for you to understand. The first sentence is that when a top student finds that he can't solve a problem, He will keep solving it until he figures it out. The second sentence is, if a genius student finds that he can't do a question, he will throw the paper aside and ignore it. There are only two reasons why a genius student cannot solve a problem. One is that the problem is wrong, and the other is that the problem is wrong. After saying this, he raised the corner of his mouth slightly, revealing a slightly unfathomable smile. Ping An, which one are you? Fang Ping'an didn't expect the topic to be about him. Touching his chin, he smiled faintly. The second one. Ding Junj sighed slightly. I can only fight because of my good looks. Li Hongzhang blushed slightly. What about me? Am I not worthy of living with you? Fang Ping'an chuckled. Seer, you can't say that. You can beat us all with your extremely low admission score. Ding Junj laughed softly. Li Hongzhang stared at the two of them and laughed after a while. Okay, I won't bother with you. Sooner or later, you will call me Daddy. Kai Yonghao suddenly turned around and whispered back, What's wrong, son? Ding Junj and Fang Ping'an covered their mouths and laughed quietly. Several classmates nearby also laughed quietly. What? After the goddess on the stage finished her speech, the next part was the speech by the freshman representative. The person who came on stage was a freshman from the law school, also a girl. She sat on the stage early, waiting to speak. When the two girls stand together on the stage, it is really pleasing to the eye. At this time, some students were already whispering about the senior students and the freshman representatives. Fang Ping'an didn't care about this, but Kai Yonghao and Li Hongzhang started whispering with students from other dormitories. Find out about the two beauties. Boss, are you not interested in these two beauties? Fang Ping'an looked at Ding Junj, who was as still as a mountain with curiosity. Unexpectedly, his answer was even more amazing. I knew it yesterday. The host is Hu Xian from the economics department. The name is beautiful, but I didn't expect the person to be even more beautiful. Freshman representative Yao Suli from the law school. It looks pretty, but it still looks a little tender. It's not my cup of tea. He shook his head. I like people who are bigger than me. He put his head close to Fang Ping'an's ear and said in a lower voice, My goal in coming to Kyoto University is to date a senior or teacher who is at least 3 years older than me. Fang Ping'an's head was about to explode. What a lofty ideal. You are a freshman and haven't even started a class yet, but all you want is to hook up with a beautiful teacher. Are you okay? Hey, what kind of girl are you planning to pick up? Ding Junj winked. Fang Ping'an pursed his lips and said, The one on the stage is pretty good, but I haven't been living on campus for the past 2 months. I guess I'll wait until I can wander around and pick up girls. This kind of beauty must have someone to take. Ding Junj groaned and said, Not necessarily. Fang Ping'an thought with peace of mind, That's not necessarily true. When boys are 18 or 19 years old, the secretion of male hormones is at its most active. When you see a beautiful woman, can you let her go easily? In addition, the capital is a place where nobles are everywhere and rich people are as numerous as dogs. With so many girls, how could there be a lack of gold diggers? But these gold diggers in the university are all beautiful. However, if there is really a chance to have a relationship, it would be nice. After the meeting, the three of them surrounded Fang Ping'an, worried that he would be bumped into by someone. At noon, Fang Ping'an sat upright in the dormitory. Hey Uzzy and Fatty went to get food, and he waited in the dormitory. Ding Junj went to the next dormitory to play cards. The only person who can do this is someone who is willing to waste time. The afternoon is the first class meeting for freshmen. After dinner, considering that he couldn't get into bed, the four of them set the alarm on their phones and started playing landlord. Fang Ping'an did not hold back. Even with his amazing memory, there was no guarantee that he would win every time. It can be seen that there is really no waste among those who can go to Peking University. Anyone who is a top student in his hometown has the possibility of going to Peking University. Others who like to play usually don't really have this opportunity. However, what Fang Ping'an cares about is not winning or losing, but everyone's performance when playing cards. Something he once learned from Fang Hongzhen. There is no man who doesn't like to win, no matter how much. As long as there is a chance of winning, and no matter what the bet is, we will try our best to win. And in this process, some things that are not normally seen will appear. I don't know who bought a refrigerator in the dormitory, and it was filled with ice-cold beer and drinks. Too bad he can't drink any of them. He only discovered this when Kai Yonghao took out the iced Coke. Who bought the refrigerator? He asked. Li Hongzhang pointed at Kai Yonghao. By the way, Ping'an, can you drink iced? Fang Ping'an felt a little embarrassed, and he also wanted to drink an ice cola. Let me make you a cup of tea. I stole it from my dad. Li Hongzheng happened to have a buy, so he stood up and took out a can of tea from the cupboard, then went to make tea for himself. Fang Pingan then remembered. I remember I also have good tea at home, but I didn't bring it with me. How about I make some? Ding Junj and Kai Yonghao were not very interested, but Li Hongzheng obviously liked drinking tea. Oolong tea, I like oolong tea. Ping An, this is what your hometown produces. It is said that the best tea in Beijing comes from other places. Among the local teas, only jasmine tea tastes good. As he placed the cup on the table, he explained, My dad told me that. I just like drinking tea and I don't really understand these things. Fang Pingan thanked him and continued playing cards. Chapter 79. Thanks to Mr. N, Yue Cheng who loves food and a Sanj of Bailiang. The lecture hall was filled with this year's freshmen. The 4 of them sat in the last row. In order to protect the lame Fang Pingan, they deliberately let him sit on the outside. Some people in the classroom have already started chatting and making friends. This is normal in college. I believe everyone knows without parents' reminders that college is the first important opportunity to expand your network, especially since it lasts for 4 years. There are many girls in the finance department, but there are really no extremely beautiful ones. There is one among the boys, Ding Junj. This guy is not only handsome, but his height is definitely the type that girls like most. Plus, he has a tall figure. No wonder some girls came up to him and started chatting with him. Seeing the girl coming, Fang Pingan simply lay down on the table. Kai Yonghao and Li Hongzheng leaned back in their chairs. Only Ding Junj looked calm. It seemed like this situation was commonplace to him. Sure enough, the girl walked up to them with a red face, her eyes only on Ding Junj. Classmate, can you add me on WeChat? The girl was about 1.6 meters tall, and you could tell from her voice that she was from the south. In addition to her fair skin, the most attractive thing about this girl is that she has beautiful eyes and eyebrows. These words were not said by Fang Pingan, but by Ding Junj himself later. At this time, Fang Pingan just thought that the girl had beautiful eyes and a good figure. But because of his height, he doesn't have long legs. Ding Junj kept smiling and took out his cell phone while asking, Classmate, my name is Ding Junj. My name is Chen Wen. The girl blushed even more. She wanted to see the face of handsome Ding Junj, but felt a little embarrassed. This gives people a contradictory feeling of being shy and timid at the same time, as being a bit infatuated. Ding Junj smiled, Okay, classmate Chen Wen. The two added each other on WeChat, and the girl's eyes were filled with excitement. A few girls not far away were also looking at this side with excitement. The girl ran back with a red face. Ding Junj whispered, This girl is quite interesting. As they were talking, a young man walked in from the front door of the classroom. Hello everyone, I'm your counselor Kaio Bo. The whole classroom fell silent. Kaio Bo was wearing a white t-shirt, jeans and sneakers, and looked a bit like a student. This is my 2nd year as a counselor. I hope to get along well with everyone in the next 4 years. I will do my best to provide you with all the help I can. I also hope to gain everyone's trust and receive more suggestions on my work. I sincerely hope to make progress together with you all. I don't know who started clapping first, but applause broke out in the classroom. What follows is a brief explanation. This was all nonsense to the students, but he had to get his point across. When the temporary class leaders were being elected, no one in dormitory 217 was willing to go. In the end, there was only one temporary squad leader position, which was given to a guy named Song Zhangping. It looks ordinary. After selecting the class leaders, Kaio Bo continued, Military training will begin next week, so today's meeting will be considered a class meeting. I was just being lazy while completing the work assigned by the school leaders. I will always be with you during the future military training. Without further ado, except for those who cannot participate in the military training due to health reasons and will come to me later, the squad leader will bring a few people and go with me to collect the uniforms after the meeting. Oh, by the way, Fang Pingan here. Kaio Bo scanned the classroom and saw a student standing up in the last row. Also seeing him were the many heads twisting around and the many gazes that finally froze. Student Fang Pingan was injured during the holiday, and he had already applied to the school at the beginning of the semester, so he doesn't need to come to me again. I've already made a note here. Oh, and there's more. He smiled and said, Dear students, do you know that Fang Pingan is the top scorer in science in Yun Province? Well, he is Fang Pingan, damn it. What's wrong? I'm from Yun Province too. This bastard got 732 on the test. He's not even a human being. Fuck 732. The highest we have is only around 700. Wow, the top scholar is quite handsome. You only see how handsome he is. Didn't you see the guy next to him? That's really handsome. He's definitely the most handsome guy on campus. I love how he got into Kyoto University and is so handsome. Fang Ping'an was a little embarrassed at first, but soon relaxed. It's still a loss even if you shrink your head, so you might as well stand there and let everyone see. Cairo Bo smiled and nodded to him. Okay, please sit down. All the students think that Cairo Bo is a really good counselor. At least he is not old-fashioned. He can be cheerful and make jokes, and he is quite good at livening up the atmosphere. I feel like I can get along well with the students. But Fang Ping'an knew very well that, after Fang Hongjun went to college, he rarely saw his counselor. Most of the issues are resolved by the class committee and the student union. As for things that really cannot be solved, just throw money at them and they'll be solved. Anyway, at that time, Fang Hongjun's source of income came from money given to him by everyone in the family. After the meeting, Song Zhengping took 7 or 8 boys to move the military uniforms. Fang Ping'an's cell phone vibrated. He took out his cell phone and saw a WeChat message from Chen Xiaohua. Dad, I just got a piece of news. The guy who hit you with his car was instructed by someone and received 100,000 yuan. Fang Ping'an stared at the screen for 2 seconds and then turned it off. Ding Junj saw that his expression was not right, so he asked, "What's wrong, Ping'an?" Fang Ping'an shook his head slightly and said, "It's okay. I just received a message from my dad. I'll call him later." Then he smiled and asked, "If I don't participate in military training, what do you think I should do here?" Li Hongzhang interrupted and said, "Of course we share the happiness. Otherwise, you will be alone when you go back. How can you be as happy as being with us?" Kai Yonghao nodded. "That's right. Brothers should be together." Fang Ping'an smiled bitterly and said, "Okay, when you start your military training, I will come to visit you every day." Ding Junj was immediately happy. "Zhao Anzi, you are so unkind." "That's right," Li Hongzhang followed immediately. "We're getting tanned and you stay in the shade and watch the fun." Fang Ping'an spread his hands. "Participation is the most important thing. I'm here too, okay?" At this time, several more girls came to ask for WeChat. This time, not only Ding Junj, but also Kai Yonghao and Fang Ping'an were asked for WeChat. Only Li Hongzhang was ignored. This made his fat face turn red. After waiting for the girls to leave, he gritted his teeth and whispered, "This is too much of a bully. This is too much of a bully. Don't fat people deserve to be asked for WeChat?" Kai Yonghao patted his shoulder, and everything was said without words. Ding Junj also reached out and patted the fat man's shoulder. The fat man was in tears. Fang Ping'an stood up and said, "I won't be participating in the military training, so please help me take the uniforms back to the dormitory. I'm going to go out and call my dad back." Ding Junj nodded and said, "Okay, come back if you have something to do. How about I take you out? Anyway, the 3rd and 4th brothers are here, so just leave the matter of getting the clothes to them." Chapter 80, Did I Complain? 80. In the end, Fang Ping'an politely declined Ding Junj's kindness. "I originally thought the collision was just an accident. Now it seems that there is something else going on. But apart from his half-brother Fang Hongjun, he has never had any grudges with anyone. So he didn't need to think too much to know that this matter should have been arranged by Fang Hongjun through his old friends abroad. Now even Chen Xiaohua knows about it, which means that there must be quite a few people who know about it." He had just walked out of the school gate and was about to take a taxi when the door of a Porsche on the side of the road opened, and a man got out and walked towards him. Fang Ping'an looked up and immediately frowned. "Fang Jinglei." "Safe, safe," Fang Jinglei shouted as she walked. Fang Ping'an leaned on his cane and looked at her. He waited until she came closer before asking, "Are you waiting for me here?" This means that if Fang Hongjun finds someone else, wouldn't it be easy to kill him? Thinking of this, he suddenly felt very uncomfortable. Even though this is the capital, if a car accident really happens, the driver will just have to pay money and go to jail. Thinking of this, he suddenly felt very, very unsafe. "No, I have to go back to the dormitory. The hotel is not safe." Once Fang Hongjun decides to do something, he will not give up until he achieves his goal. He had seen it many times. Fang Hongjun was even willing to hurt both sides and let the company's stock price fall by nearly 30% in order to kill his opponent. I don't know if this vicious character was inherited from his biological mother, Qin Balian. Fang Jinglei's face looked a little excited. "Yes," she nodded, "it's safe. Mom and I are in Beijing." Fang Ping'an looked at her coldly. In an instant, my thoughts changed rapidly. When Fang Hongjun is abroad, the only person who can put pressure on him is Fang Junhong, not these sisters. Fang Junhong's pressure may come partly from the Zhao family, and partly from these women. Fang Jinglei continued, "What's wrong with your legs? That day, when your adoptive father brought you to register, my mom and I were watching you in the car. Because your adoptive father was there, we didn't get off the car. Mom cried when she saw your leg was injured." Fang Ping'an looked down at his legs. "My leg, Fang Hongjian hired someone to hit it with his car." Fang Jinglei looked surprised. Didn't he go abroad? Could it be that he is back?" "I don't know, I just learned the news. Someone told me." Fang Jinglei opened her mouth and paused before saying, "Ping En, do you want to go with me to see Mom?" She carefully avoided using words like "our mother," for fear that Fang Ping'an would be angry. Fang Ping'an shook his head and said, "Gone. There won't be any chances in the future. I probably won't leave the campus easily." Unable to hide the disappointment in her eyes, she whispered, "Mom regrets it now. I'm not asking you to go see her now. We treated you badly in the past. It was our own fault. But I still hope you can forgive her. Mom is now crying all day long, can't eat or sleep well, and her health is not as good as before." Fang Ping'an no longer had any interest in continuing the conversation. He just wanted to get back to the hotel quickly to pick up his things, and then go back to school to live in the dormitory. He just turned 18 and has not yet begun to experience college life. The world outside is so dangerous, he doesn't want to stay here any longer. "I don't have time to consider your feelings. Just like you did back then. I have my own things to do. Whether you can survive or not is none of my business." "I don't care either." He turned around, leaned on his crutches, walked to the side of the road, stretched out his hand and started to stop a car. Fang Jinglei was silent for a moment, then came over and stood beside him and asked, "Where are you going? I'll take you there." Fang Ping'an said calmly, "No need. I don't want to have anything to do with anyone from your Fang family." Fang Jinglei couldn't hide the bitterness in her heart and felt like her nasal cavity was blocked by something. When she spoke again, her voice was already nasal. "Ping En, please don't do this to us. We were all deceived by Fang Hongjian." "You deserve it," Fang Ping'an said impatiently. "I don't even complain about these things, so what qualifications do you have to complain?" He turned around and walked towards the school with his crutches. "Ping En, where are you going?" "There's no place for you. I'm going back to the dorm," Fang Ping'an said as he walked. Fang Jinglei moved her body. She wanted to follow, but she knew that it was useless. It seemed like this younger brother simply hoped that they would all live in regret for the rest of their lives. Fang Ping'an walked straight back to the dormitory. Freshmen carrying military training uniforms can be seen everywhere on the street. Not long after returning to the dormitory, Ding Junj and the others came back. Everyone was surprised to see him there. "I thought you went home." Ding Junj casually handed him his clothes. Fang Ping'an took it and put it on the table, then picked up the freshly brewed tea and took a sip. "I'm not staying at home, I'm staying in a hotel." The three of them immediately stopped what they were doing and looked over. Fang Ping'an continued, "My dad went back to Yun province. I live in a hotel alone. The reason I didn't go back is because I need your help." Li Hongzhang stared at him without saying a word, but Kai Yanghao patted his chest and said, "If you need any help, Ping En, just tell me and I'll help you." Ding Junj tore open the packaging of the military training uniforms, took out the clothes and hung them up. Fang Ping'an glanced at Kai Yanghao and said, "My things are all in the hotel, but I don't want to go because I can't carry so many things by myself." Kai Yanghao nodded. "Yes, you have to use a cane, so of course you can't carry anything." Fang Ping'an took out the room card from his pocket and placed it on the table. "You can't do it alone. It takes 2 people to go. I have a lot of stuff." Then he explained what kind of things he had. After listening to this, Ding Junj decided, "Okay, let's do this. The 3 of us will help you move all your things back from the hotel. You just stay in the dormitory. But I still want to know, if you live in a dormitory and this bed is on top, how would you climb up? Also, when you need to get up to pee at night, you can't ask us to get up to help you." Fang Ping'an shook his head and said, "It's okay, I can overcome it myself." Li Hongzhang asked, "Did something happen? You have to stay on campus." Fang Ping'an shook his head and said, "No, I just don't want to spend that money. It costs more than 1,000 a day, and that's the room my dad booked. I can't stop it." Li Hongzhang glanced at him and stopped talking. "I also started to organize my military training uniforms." He always felt that Fang Ping'an seemed to have a lot of things he didn't want to say. "We are just roommates, and he doesn't even live in the dormitory, so it's hard to say too much." Ding Junj suddenly changed his mind. "Ping En, I think something happened to you. But if your father knows about it, You'd better ask your father for advice on whether to continue living in the hotel or move back to the dormitory. For things like this, adults definitely have much more experience than us who have just entered college. So it wouldn't hurt to listen to adults' opinions. Fang Ping'an looked a little gloomy and nodded. He opened the balcony door, walked out and closed it, then took out his cell phone and called Chen Xiahua.